to Sleeping by Annie Adams Fields, 1834 to 1915. Beloved, when I saw thee sleeping there, and watched the tender curving of thy mouth, the cheek, our home of kisses, the soft hair, and over all a languor of the south, and marked thy house of thought, thy forehead, where all trouble of the earth was then at rest, and thy dear eyes, a blessing to the blest, their ivory gates closed on this world of care. Then I prayed that never wrong of mine, that never pain which haunts these earth-built bowers, if I could hinder, or could aught relieve, should evermore make sad this heart of thine. And yet, dear love, how oft thou leav'st thy flowers here in the rain to walk with me and grieve. Okay, this is a poem by Annie Adams Fields. She was an American from Boston. She came from a rich family and went to Boston's best private school for girls. Schools for girls in those days were certainly much less common. She was well known for her philanthropic works, and let's see, when she was 20 she was married to James T. Fields, who was a publisher, and they were married until she was 48 when he died. During that time she'd founded Holly Tree Inns, places serving cheap food for the poor, and she'd also established a cheap residence for unmarried working women. Anyway, when her husband died, her closest friend was Sarah Orne Jewett, and they started by sharing each other's houses. They would live in the house of one for 6 months and then the house of the other for 6 months, and then they exchanged rings and they exchanged marriage vows, and they considered themselves married, and they lived together for the rest of their lives. So when this poem says to blank blank blank, this is to Sarah Orne Jewett, her lover, and this is a love poem. It's a poem saying that how much she loves this woman. Beloved, when I saw thee sleeping there, and watching the tender curving of thy mouth. So I saw you sleeping, I was looking at you sleeping. So she's sitting watching her sleep, and she watches the curve of Sarah's mouth, the cheek, our home of kisses, the soft hair. So the cheek, I think the mouth, the soft hair, and overall a languor of the south. So this is something that reminds her the relaxation of being in the south. And marked thy house of thought, thy forehead, where all the trouble of the earth was then at rest. And then she looked at her forehead, and this is where thoughts come. And she thought that her love was at rest, she was relaxed, that all the troubles of the earth were on hold because she was asleep. And thy dear eyes, we can hear the love in the words, a blessing to the blest. So your eyes are a blessing, these are a beautiful thing. They're ivory gates, the eyelids closed upon this world of care. So you're sleeping, you're not in this world of care, you don't have to worry. Then I prayed. I like this. Then I prayed. It gives the words a rhythm. Then I prayed that never wrong of mine. So then I prayed that I would never do something wrong, that never pain which haunts these earth-built bowers, if I could hinder or aught relieve, should evermore make sad this heart of thine. So then I prayed that I would never ever do anything wrong, anything to make you sad. So that never a wrong of mine, that never pain, and now she's describing pain which haunts these earth-built bowers, pain which is something that is part of earth, that is part of being human. If I could hinder, if I could stop it, or could relieve, or could do anything to relieve the pain, should evermore make sad this heart of thine. So I never want you to be sad again. I want never to do anything to make you sad, or I want to be able to stop anything hurting you. I want to be able to relieve any pain that you might fear. And yet, dear love, how oft thou leav'st thy flowers here in the rain to walk with me and grieve. And I think this is saying how often you leave the flowers, you leave the beautiful things in life, and you walk with me, and you come and walk with me, and you come and spend your time with me, and this is perhaps something to grieve about, because when we are awake, then the world is something that is perhaps full of pain and full of difficulty. But yet, despite this, you often you come with me. You resolve my problems. You walk through these difficulties with me and sort them out for me. So, to Sarah Orne Jewett Sleeping by Annie Adams Fields.